We visited a futuristic-looking facility where one of the boldest experiments of our time was attempted. Later, we saw wild horses roaming the countryside, all on a holiday weekend visiting friends in Mesa, Arizona. Driving into the Phoenix area from Payson in the north is always a surprise to us. Snow along the roadway, beautiful mountains and trees. Somehow it's not what we expect when we picture Arizona and the desert. We arrived at the home of our friends, Julie and Bernie, on a Friday evening, and the next morning headed out to see Biosphere 2. Before we arrived, we drove through the small town of Florence, Arizona, where Julie suggested we stop at an Ace hardware store of all places.
Julie said she didn't want to be on camera, so.
The store has an interesting history and is decorated with historic memorabilia. On to Biosphere 2, where an imaginative human habitation project was conducted in the 1990s that captivated the nation. It is located near the Santa Catalina Mountains and the Sonoran Desert between Phoenix and Tucson. Tickets there range from $15 to $27, and an app can be downloaded on your smartphone for audio on your self-guided walking tour. After you check in at the visitor center, you begin walking toward the building where 8 people, 4 men and 4 women, were sealed in for a 2-year-long human habitation experiment from September 91 to September 93. The property where Biosphere 2 stands has had an interesting history. It was used by indigenous people for many years, later for prospecting and a cattle ranch and hunting lodge. In the 1950s, a countess built her dream home and lived there until 1968. Motorola Corporation bought the property in 1969 and began construction on a management training center that included guest suites, meeting rooms, and a dining area. Following a land swap, the University of Arizona Foundation used it as a retreat and conference center before Space Biosphere Ventures purchased the property. It took 4 years to construct the 3-plus-acre facility that included apartments, a kitchen, and a library for the Biospherians. An area for farming, an orchard, and simulated desert, a savanna, ocean, and rainforest were included in the completely sealed building. The initial experiment was designed to see whether people could survive in a self-sustaining facility in outer space. You walk in on the level where there's a kitchen and dining room for the Biospherians and where they rotated cooking assignments. Up a few stairs is one of the 2-level apartments that can be viewed through a glass window. There's an extra cost for those who want to see more of their living space and climb the 225 steps up to the tallest point of the habitation, the library, which offers 360-degree views of the area. Even the Biospherians very rarely used it because of heat and low oxygen. This is where they once farmed, but is now used for a rainfall experiment. The orchard is where they grew fruit trees to help sweeten their primarily plant-based diet. One of the problems which arose during the first 2-year experiment was a lack of oxygen. Another failing was that the farm was not as productive as was hoped. The oxygen CO2 levels got out of balance when microbes in the rich soil of the rainforest and farm areas gave off more CO2 than the plants were able to keep up with. On day 500 of the first experiment, they had to add oxygen to the biosphere for the health of those inside. However, they didn't tell the public, who eventually lost confidence in the project, even though a second group later completed a similar 6-month experiment. The University of Arizona now owns the property and uses it for extensive earth science experiments and as a hands-on lab for its students. The landscaping is lush and varied in the dome that holds the simulated desert, savanna, ocean, and rainforest. However, it was extremely humid.
This is amazing. Are we in Costa Rica yet?
Looking for the monkeys.
After visiting Biosphere 2, we decided Biosphere 1, our own Earth, was a much more wonderful place. Easter Sunday was rainy and cool, but we still enjoyed a good service at our friend's church. Afterwards, we headed to their house for dinner with their family. All good food, of course.
Move over a little bit in front of the TV so we don't have all the messy books. Chloe, move
Who
down.
do you think's gonna get the most eggs?
Me.
I think it's gonna be Henry.
Chloe, move down, please.
Because he already got it.
Here we go. Henry, Teddy.
sister.
Good God.
After pictures with their 4 grandchildren, it was an all-out blitz in search of Easter eggs. When the family left, Julie and Bernie took us on a drive to see more of the area, including Saguaro Lake and Tonto National Recreation Area and the Salt River Wild Horses. Also on the tour was the city of Fountain Hills. But as we again reflected on our own journey, we realized that as fascinating as man-made creations are, our own Earth is far more interesting and beautiful.
I never thought I'd be taking video of some guy in an outhouse.
Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.